Hey you guys, how are y'all today? Hope everyone is doing well. I told you guys that I was gonna come to y'all with a very special video. This video is dedicated to my son. So we're gonna get right into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I told you earlier today in my vlog that I will be doing a very special video, and so yeah, let's get into the video. Hey. So today I'm going to tell you a story. And the name of this story is let me just tell the story. As you guys may know or have paid attention, for the Christmas holidays, I have been dedicating the Christmas holidays to my son, whom passed away December 26th of 2014. So I figured what better day than to share my son's story with you guys, and on the day that God called him home, or he transitioned to be in heaven. And I know that's where my son is because I know what type of life he lived. Well, on December 26th of 2014, my son did transition home to be with God at the very tender age of 24 years old. And I know you're looking at me and you're saying, how 7 years ago did she have a 24-year-old son? Well, I may not look it, but I am 46 years old. But to be honest and transparent with you guys, my son was born to me at 13 years old. At 13 years old, I became a mother of my son. My son's name is Darian Bryant. So at 13 years old, I became a mother. So I really didn't have any teenage years. I mean, I had teenage years, but I was already a mother. So yes, I was a teen mom I was 13 when I had him, and then 2 months later I turned 14 years old. So yes, I raised him as a teen mother. Darian was a very successful young man. He was very respectful. No, he was not out in the streets. He was not, living a wild life or anything like that. You know, a lot of times there is a stigma that when you have a child at a young age, that child goes out and does things. That's how people try to look at it. Does things that they should not be doing. But my son was raised in the church. He's been in the church all his life, from the time he was born until the time he laid his head, until the time God called him home. So he's always been a part of church. He's always been a part of ministry. He loved God with his whole heart and soul. So anyway, to tell the story, to continue with the story, because I don't want to bore you guys. My son, like I said, was born to me at 13 years of age. He grew up to be a awesome young man. Well, to get deep into the story on what happened and why he lost his life, I would say, I wouldn't say that, I'd just say God called him home. Well, did have him young. He graduated from high school. I have to admit that I did have a hand in raising him. When he became a high school student, I sent him off to live with my sister and her husband, who was a pastor, and they raised him into a young man. So from then on, my son began a career as a musician. He loved music, all type of music. That was also his major in college. Needless to say, yes, he did graduate from high school. Yes, he did graduate from college. And within his passing, he was working on his second degree, if I'm not mistaken, or he already had the second degree. Yeah, he was working on his second degree at the point of death. So my son, like I said, loved music. He loved music. That was his passion. He loved all type of music. He loved to play. He loved to sing. Whatever had to do with music, that was my son. So this is hard to tell. I've told the story before, but I want to tell it again. I want to share it on my YouTube channel. Because I tried to upload that video a while back and it was unsuccessful. And I told this story about 2 years after his death. So I'm telling it again. I'm sharing it with you guys. On October 14th of 2014, my son was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. I kind of feel like it was my fault because I didn't pay attention to what was going on with him. I did see that he had begun to lose a lot of weight, but he wasn't really sick. He was just losing a lot of weight. He was still himself, and different things like that. So he began to get sick. He began to, I guess, deteriorate before our eyes. And so one Sunday, he was sitting on the bed and he was like almost gasping for breath. And we were getting ready for church, and I went in. It took him forever to get dressed, and finally, when I went in, he was sitting on the bed, and it was like a cold, like a real like congestion, and he was breathing real hard and stuff. But I went ahead and went to church Sunday. That Sunday, my son was faithful. He was a musician of our church, so he was faithful. He did what he was supposed to do at all the times. He would try to always be in place, and if he wasn't in place, our pastor knew where he was. But anyway, so he was sick that Sunday. I'll never forget it. He had on a black overcoat or whatever. Now, at the time, I didn't pay attention because my son was losing the weight, but he was putting on double layers of clothes, so when no one be able to tell that he was losing the weight. I remember back when he had gotten sick and we had a conversation, and he was like, he kept saying, I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is, but whatever it is, he was like, I need you to be behind me on this, Mom. I need you to be behind me. And I just threw it off. I was like, what are you talking about? He never actually said it. So I don't know if my son really already knew before he even went to the hospital, any of that. So that Sunday, we went into the pastor's office and he was having a problem with his throat. And I remember my pastor saying, what's going on with your throat or whatever. And he was like, well, we need you. You know, we was telling him he needs to go to the doctor. So the next day I had to go to work, and that morning I was without transportation at that time. So he drove me to work and he went to the doctor or whatever. So it was just something in my spirit. I was just so uneasy at work that day. So I kept calling, and finally when I got him on the phone, he immediately told me, he was like, Mom, I have HIV or whatever. He said they're about to put me in the hospital. So by that time, his white cells, they were already low. Everything was he was just going down. His immune system was failing. So what happens is, with what I have learned and studied about the sickness of HIV, is that HIV basically attacks your immune system. Once your immune system is completely down and your body cannot fight up anything, it goes into what they call full-blown AIDS. So my son went to the hospital. They put him in the hospital, and he was like, Mom, when I went to see him or whatever, he was like, Mom, I'm gonna beat this, I'm gonna go through this. And we never really had the conversation of how it came about. He was just like, Mom, that's not a lifestyle that I was living, and I don't know how he got it. I don't know how, to this day, know how my son conceived this disease. But anyway, so he went into the hospital, and to to be honest, I never saw a point where he was actually getting better. He went into the hospital. They put him on meds, HIV meds. One thing about HIV, about your meds, if you are HIV positive or has been diagnosed with this, you have to take your medicine. There are people that are HIV positive, but it's not detected now in your system. Basically, he never got to that point. He was diagnosed in October, and from that point, it's just like he began to deteriorate. One of the things that hurt me the most was all the weight loss. He had lost so much weight until he was not able to even stand. But before that happened, we were doing everything that we could, trying to, build his immune system, giving him Ensure. I was even trying out everything I knew how as a mother to try to nurse my son, to try to help build his system. But in that, God already had a plan. So I remember him, he had whatever was going on with his throat, it caused him, he was coughing up blood constantly, like filling up cups and cups and cups of blood and towels of blood. I had to constantly wash daily, keep everything sanitized and clean, because they was like to try to help him, build his immune system. So he coughed up blood. He was coughing up blood daily, coughing up blood daily. And so they was trying to say, they went in and they took these long scissors. I mean, the scissors were about like this long, and they went down into my son's throat to cut, to see what was going on in his throat. Could you imagine somebody sticking some scissors down in your throat? So they put the scissors down in his throat, and to get the tissue out of his throat so that they could see what was going on with his throat, because they was trying to say that it was cancer. We even went as far as going to like a health food doctor, and what the health food doctors do is they look into your eyes. They look into your eyes and they can tell you the things that's going on in the inside of your body by looking through your eyes. And they told him that yeast was growing up through his body, and that that's what was causing the stuff in his throat. So he was growing yeast out of his throat. I have pictures on his iPad where he would open his mouth because he was trying to figure out what was going on, and he would take pictures of it and look at it. And so after that, he just kept, he began to get worse. We would take turns trying to see with him and stuff, and I was still trying to work, and a lot of times I couldn't even stay at work because they would call me because it was so much going on with him, and I had to make decisions. Well, in December, I'm trying to cut this short, in December, he really got worse. I remember like I said, he had gotten so skinny that he couldn't even stand on his own feet, and we had to put a chair. See, a lot of people don't know. You don't know what a person goes through. We had to put a chair in the tub just for him to sit down because he couldn't stand on his own feet to take a bath. And that was the first time I ever seen my son, and he was skin and bone. All I saw was bone. I had to turn my head to them so he wouldn't see me cry. It was the worst feeling ever to see my son like that. And so I remember the day he actually went in the hospital. He went in the hospital. He had an appointment that day, and we was trying to get him down the stairs for the appointment, and he couldn't stand. So my daughter at the time, she's 21 now, but at the time I think maybe, I want to say she was about 14 or 15. She had to pick him up and put him in the car. So when we got to the center where the A patients go, they immediately rushed him to the hospital. And needless to say, he never came home in the hospital. They because he was malnutrition. They were trying to get nutrition in his body. So they wanted to put a tube in his body because he was hungry. He wanted to eat, and you know, they was giving him all kind of Ensure, different things like that. And his bowels, he constantly had diarrhea, you know, so that's another signs of HIV is cold, diarrhea. Those are the most weight loss, rapid weight loss, like quickly. If you're having these signs, you need to go get checked. I know a lot of people, they're so wrapped into COVID right now, and I can't even remember the new name of the other one that's supposed to be COVID, but worse. They're so focused on that right there, they're forgetting about all the other stuff that's still going on. I just want to make someone aware, because this month, December, is HIV Awareness Month. If you haven't been tested, get tested. Because to be honest with you, a lot of the things that I see that's going on with COVID is the same thing that's going on with HIV. But anyway, I'm trying to remember everything. He went into the hospital, and you know, at first he was doing pretty well. You know, he was still trying to be the minister of music that he was, still sending out music, all those things like that. He was still trying to be faithful. And I thank God for my spiritual father, because he was there through every step of the way. He never let us down. He never turned his back on us. He was always there. And for a long time, I didn't even share this with anyone. And he kept it private as well. They would ask me what happened to my son, and I would just say he was sick. But I know he would want me to tell his story to help someone else. But anyway, he went into the hospital, and then he began, you know, we prayed every day, we read scriptures. He began to pray for other people as they came into his room, doctors and nurses. He would ask them, let me pray for you, let me pray for you, let me pray for you. He was still trying to do the work of the Lord, even though he's sick bed. And so they finally, one day I was at work, to make a long story short, they were trying to, I don't know, they were trying to run some tests, or they were trying to do something, and he was hungry, and he was breathing, and he was telling my mama, they called him on the phone, they put him on the phone, like, Mama, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry. And he just kept saying, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. And I was like, Darian, just go ahead and let them. They wanted to put the tube down his nose, and he didn't want it. He kept saying, I don't want it, I don't want it. And I guess he felt it. And so they wanted to put the feeding tube down his nose or whatever. And we were trying to convince him to put it on his stomach, and they was putting it in his stomach. They were saying his stomach was too weak and what it would do, whatever. So they ended up putting it down his nose. And for some reason, I spent the night with him that night. And I had read the scriptures. I had declared what I normally declared over his life. And I fell asleep, and then when I woke up, I noticed that he had pulled the tube out of his nose. And then I went to get the nurse, and when the nurse came in, my son was non-responsive. He was non-responsive, and so they put him on a breathing machine, and they came and asked me to do that. And then I wanted to resuscitate, and I told him yes. I said, I have faith in God, and I want you to do everything you can to try to keep my son alive. So he ended up in ICU, on an intensive care unit. And the next morning, God gave him a miracle. And that's why I said, I know, even though God took my son, he still showed me that he works miracles. And so I prayed, and everybody was praying. My mom was there, you know, being supportive as she was, and praying and everything. And so my pastor was there, and everybody, you know, was just coming to see him and visiting him. And you know, it got to where we could only visit, you know, a certain time of day, and we would try to be every visit, do everything we can. So that particular morning, when we finally got a chance to see him, he was alert. So, you know, we're thinking, you know, he's gonna come back this way or whatever. So he was having his tongue, I don't know, from the breathing machine, it was
they, so I don't know if he ended up back on the breathing machine after they took him out, because they kept trying to get him up so that they can try to do therapy with him, so that, you know, he can learn how to breathe better on his own again. And they was doing all kind of tests, and they went in and he had fluid on his lungs, and they drained the fluid off. They wanted to, you know, they drained the fluid off or whatever. And it's like, it was just a buildup of fluid. You know, he couldn't, because of what was going on in his throat, nothing could go down, so it was just stuck there in his throat. So, he couldn't even digest jello or water or anything like that, and he would just drink a lot. He was doing this before he went into the hospital. He was just drinking, and I remember his favorite drink was peach tea. And for Thanksgiving, he tried to eat, but he couldn't. And I remember, because we stayed home for Thanksgiving, and I cooked for him, and I got his peach tea, and I made the peach tea and everything, and that's all he could do was drink, because he could keep the food down. And that's what caused the weight loss, because he couldn't keep the food down. And so they was trying to get the fluid off him and everything. I can't remember how he ended up back on the ventilator, but he ended up back on the ventilator. And his tongue began to swell, and so they had explained to me that they were gonna put a trach. They wanted to put a trach in him so that he could breathe that way, so that they could so that his tongue would go down. And Christmas Eve, I never forget, my son's favorite year is Christmas. His favorite time of year is Christmas, so that's my son right there. My son's favorite year was Christmas, so Christmas Eve, I never forget, we were all up there, and my son, he was in good spirits. I'm just trying to make it this short. I'm not even telling everything. And he was in good spirit, and his favorite song came on, which is This Christmas. That's why I named this, what I did to dedicate to him all the way up to Christmas Day, This Christmas, because I knew what this day, December 26th, means to me. That's why I told y'all this. I was gonna explain to y'all why I was wearing the red. It's my son's favorite color. He loves red, black, and white, and also because it represents what he has gone through. And I have been an advocate for AIDS ever since, HIV/AIDS ever since I stopped doing it, because I wasn't getting the support that I needed to try to push forward and trying to make people aware of this, especially our young people. That they seem to not understand that it's real, and a lot of people make fun of HIV/AIDS, and they it's not nothing to make fun of, because if you ain't seen it, if you're not experiencing it, if you haven't had a loved one to go through it, then you don't know what it's like. So don't make fun of people when you don't know. Don't, because you see somebody maybe losing weight, don't even speak it on them. Don't tell them. They use words like, oh, they got that stuff. Don't use those words. Don't talk about people when they're sick, because you never know where you're gonna be. You never know what you're gonna experience in your life. But I just wanted to, share that with you guys. But he was in good spirits on December 24th. And when his song came on, and he was moving his feet, and he was, dancing and stuff with us. But he had wrote us a letter, and it said, I'm ready to go home. And we thought he was wanting to come home because it was the holidays or whatever. So on Christmas Day, we went to see him or whatever, and he was just laying there, and I felt it in my spirit. I already knew. I just knew it, So I was like, and like the last visit, it was just like I didn't want to leave, and I kept watching his vital signs, and I just felt like, oh my God, it seemed like this just happened. And so I'll never forget it. It was about 11:50, and they called me. I live right around the corner, maybe like 3 minutes from the hospital. And they called me, and it was like, your son is coded, and but he's, we got him back on the ventilator. You need to come up. And by the time I got there, and I went in, and I looked at my son, I didn't know what to do, and what I should have did was pray. I didn't know what to do, and even though I was praying, I looked down at my son, and he was just, just like, just gasping. And then I guess it wasn't even 10 minutes later, I went into the bathroom to lay prostrate on the floor to pray. And as I was laying on the floor to pray, my mama came beating on the door, and she was like, he called it again, he called it again. And she was like, you need to come on. I was like, no, Mama, I can't see my son like that. I can't watch my son die. I can't watch my son die. I can't. And I just prayed, and by the time I got to the door, the doctors was coming out, and they came to me, and they told me that he was gone, and that hurted me to my heart. And I just wanted to share this with you guys, just to love on your children, because you never know if you might have to bury them. You don't know, and it don't always be a shooting. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's crime or whether they die from sickness. Nobody wants to lose a child, and I don't wish that on anybody. I don't wish that on anybody. Love your children, because you never know. I would have never thought that such a person that he was kind-hearted, and he was a legend. He left a legend. He would do anything for anybody. If you called him, he would be there. And I will admit that I was so angry with God. I was angry, so angry with God, because I felt like at the time, I was doing everything I thought I could do to please God. Even before I knew he was sick, I was already doing what I thought I was supposed to do to please God. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I turned the other way because I started doing things I know I shouldn't have been doing, because, I felt like, I just didn't, honestly, it hurted so bad, and it still hurts to this day. But God has given me strength, and I ask God to forgive me for ever getting angry with him. But I just wanted to share his story with you guys today, and I hope that this helps someone. If you haven't gotten tested, I plead with you, get tested. If you're sexually active, I plead with you to get tested. If you're sexually active, if you're not protecting yourself in any way, however you're sexually active, I don't care. Please go get tested. Please go get tested. Young people, go get tested. Please. Older people, go get tested. Please. If you're sleeping with different people, go get tested. Please. You don't want to suffer. You don't want to go through that. I don't wish that on nobody. And I pray for any person that is going through this right now. If you need me, you can inbox me. You can email me. I will talk to you. I will pray with you. Whatever you need. Anyone on here that has lost a child, and you just need somebody to go through it with you, I am here for you, because I know what it's like. And what I realized, that God had me to go through it so that I would be able to help someone else. So if I can help you, just email me. You can comment me, and I will help you. I will be there for you. Anybody that's carrying this disease and you just want to talk to somebody, if I can help you, I will. Whatever I got, I will give it to you. And I thank you guys for listening. I pray that you have an awesome night. And if you're new to my channel and you're watching me for the first time, please subscribe. I would really appreciate your support. If you are watching me and you're already a member of my channel, well, I love you, people of victory. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. I will talk to you guys later. Love you.